Hey everyone, what's up? It's Sarah and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I wanted to talk about sister wives. I wanted to talk about their affinity for MLMs, and I wanted to talk about how all of the sister wives, save for Robin, except for Robin, Janelle, Christine, and Meri, have all dominated. They've been super successful, which is completely not the norm. They've been incredibly successful in their MLMs of choice. If you were to Google Mormonism and MLMs, you will get a ton of content. There are so many articles that discuss the correlation between members of the Mormon faith, specifically women, since MLMs disproportionately target women, and we're going to talk about that in just a second. But women in the Mormon faith and MLMs, between their religious background and their social media following, these three women have been incredibly successful when it comes to making money in this business model. First off, I want to say, if you've been sucked into an MLM, do not feel bad. It has happened to a lot of us. There wasn't always so much content revealing the schemes of MLMs, and there hasn't always been until recently a requirement for all MLMs to issue an income disclosure statement. So you were really flying blind, trusting the person who was trying to recruit you into their downline. And we know that the tactics used are questionable at best. If you know someone that is in the upper echelon of their chosen MLM, you might see them driving a luxury car that they won. You might see them going on really luxurious company business retreats. This all looks so fabulous and so attainable when they tell you that they did it by working minimal hours, putting in minimal effort, when really that is far, far, far from the truth. The fact of the matter is that is the 1%. 99.9% of people will never even make enough to support themselves off of just the money generated from an MLM. Not only that, you're not even likely to make back your initial investment, because yes, the thing about MLMs is that you have to pay to play. You have to buy the starter kit. You have to make an initial investment, which is what distinguishes MLMs from most other employers. And this is not a you thing. This is not about how hard you work. We saw in the Lula Rich documentary that the man owner of Lula Rich was like chastising people for it was their work ethic that was lacking, not the unattainable business model. But no, it's not a you thing. It's not how hard you work. It's if you did not literally get in when these companies started, you will never recruit enough people under you to turn those kinds of profits that would lead to that kind of success. It's just not possible. An MLM's business model, you know, the pyramid, is literally set up so that a minority of people that got in right at the beginning are the ones that are going to be benefiting from all the profits. There are many types of MLMs. If you can think of a consumer good, there is probably an MLM that sells that good. From clothes to perfume to makeup to oils to candles to skincare to weight loss products, you name it, someone you know is selling it via direct sales. When doing research for this video, I noticed that several articles that I was reading were quoting one study in particular, and funnily enough, it was a 2018 study done by the AARP. So I just found it interesting, but it is a very comprehensive study, and there are things that I want to talk about about MLMs in general that this report points out. So they broke down their report into 3 categories. Who participates? Why did they join? Did they make any money? So let's take a look at that. So here we have the who participates in multi-level marketing. So it says nearly 21 million Americans have participated at some point in time in a multi-level marketing business. 60% are women, 72% are married or living with a partner, 55% work as a paid employee while participating in MLMs, because what you'll see as we go through this is you're not going to make any kind of money that's going to like support a rent payment or a mortgage or even like a phone bill, to be honest. 76% have no experience in commission-based sales. MLM participants have busier social lives compared to respondents who have never participated in an MLM. 40% attend religious services once a week. Nearly half use social media more frequently. And 23% attend community events for meetings once a week. So they're civically engaged. Now let's take a look at why did they join. 63% of people joined to make money by selling the product or services to others. 23% wanted to make money by recruiting others to sell. 43% wanted to purchase the company's products, services at a discount for personal use. Like, for example, I know, like with the Shakeology protein shakes, if you become a, I don't know, health coach or whatever, you can buy the products at a discount. For almost all MLMs, you can buy the products at a discount if you yourself are a rep. And that's one of the ways they get people to get into their downline, is by saying, you really like this product. Do you want a discount on it? Well, just sign up under me. And 56% of people that have participated in MLMs were making less than $35,000 a year. And then the next area that this report looked at was, did they make any money? Is multi-level marketing profitable? 74% report that they either lost money or made no more as a result of their participation in an MLM. 47% of people actually lost money. So depending on which MLM you join, how much you spend on those initial investments, you know, with LuLaRoe, it was like a ton of money to join. 47%, almost half of people actually lost money by joining an MLM. 27% of people made no money at all. The remaining 26% reported that they made a profit. However, among those who made a profit, more than 50% made less than $5,000. On average, 7% of MLM participants made over $10,000. Less than 1% reported profits of $100K or more. This is going to be like the Meris, the Janelles, the Christines. And around 3% made between $10,000 and $24,900. My biggest takeaways from this study is that MLMs disproportionately target women, and specifically women making less than $35,000 a year. Now I want to take a look at the link between Mormonism and MLMs and why MLMs seem to be such a hit amongst the Mormon community. First, there is a connection that cannot be ignored. The state that has the highest population of Mormons, Utah, also has the highest concentration of headquarters for MLMs at 15. Utah is known unofficially as the world capital of multi-level marketing and direct sales. It generates billions in annual revenue for the state, and it makes direct sales the second biggest industry in Utah behind tourism. A practicing member of the LDS church named Met Harrison described 10 ways Mormons are especially susceptible to being lured into an MLM. Now keep in mind, she is a practicing LDS member. So 10 of the things that she described, there's insularity. So Mormons tend to be trusting, especially of other Mormons. She says they tend to want to believe that other Mormons are good because surely if they know and believe in the gospel, then they want the best for other people and aren't trying to cheat people out of money. Point 2 she makes is money as a blessing. Mormons may not know what the phrase, quote, prosperity gospel means, but many believe in the principle that if someone has money, then they must be blessed by God. Number 3, an unusually high number of stay-at-home moms. And we already know that MLMs really target and recruit towards stay-at-home moms. Mormons encourage women to stay at home, but these days that leaves many families to struggle for an extra income. It also means that Mormon stay-at-home moms use their time to try to make money for extra things. Number 4, easy mobilization. Mormons have a built-in network, according to Met, complete with phone numbers, physical addresses, and emails. They may not think twice about using this information to send out invitations to their, quote, parties about a new product or brand that is also an MLM, even if using ward lists for business purposes is against the rules of the church. Number 5, door-to-door experience. Former Mormon missionaries are used to this sales technique. They're not afraid of rejection, and they are sometimes very aggressive. Number 6, the personal touch. Mormons are used to hearing testimonials and connecting that to, quote, deeper truth. Some might argue this means Mormons are particularly vulnerable to anecdotal evidence. Number 7, big claims. Mormons often hear people scoffing at our religious ideas, our founder, and our scripture because we've grown accustomed to that. We may be more likely to shrug off criticism even when we shouldn't. Number 8, the top-down structure. Mormons are comfortable with a hierarchical institution where people at the top know more than the people at the bottom, and to paying money, quote, upstream. I know this may sound like a crude way of describing tithing, but looking at it from the outside, there are certain similarities. Number 9, naivete. Mormons have a tendency to believe that they are, quote, chosen or, quote, special, and may be more easily led to believe that an opportunity has come to them from God rather than dismissing things that are, quote, too good to be true. And number 10, skimming the surface. Sadly, Mormon church meetings do not lead Mormons to ask hard questions. Instead, we may be more vulnerable to being led to ask the questions that people want us to ask. If a question answer format is offered, we may not think more deeply. Now, that was Met writing as an active member of the LDS church. We know that Meri, Christine, and Janelle are not LDS. They were members of the AUB, a polygamist branching off of the mainstream Mormon church that, from what I've received from comments from mainstream LDS Mormons, they don't like being associated with these offshoots, these polygamist sects. They really work to distance themselves from that. So I just want to make that very clear. But when it comes down to it, the AUB, the FLDS, they do claim that original doctrine of Joseph Smith. So that's why I use the term Mormon polygamy when I talk about them. Now, Met describes how she views these 10 ways that Mormons might especially be susceptible to being talked into joining an MLM. Author Janice Johnson writes in a Washington Post why a polygamous wife might be drawn to an MLM. She writes, LDS women of the 19th century were often required to care for their families alone while their husbands were away on missions. Some were in polygamous marriages with absentee husbands or husbands with attentions stretched thin. And so women did a lot for themselves. Some LDS women, especially those with absentee husbands, managed farms and families alone. Home industries like selling straw hats, oilcloths, homespun material became a significant part of the economy in Utah, helping the LDS community become independent from outside influences in the latter half of the 19th century. LDS women found community together and supported one another economically. So that aspect of maybe you don't have a full-time husband might draw someone like Meri, especially, to, live her best why. Now let's talk Meri, Janelle, and Christine. Take their religious affiliation, their background, the way they grew up, and I know that they are not affiliated with the AUB anymore, but they still have that history, right? Couple that with their notoriety from being on TV, and you have the recipe to be very successful in an MLM. Meri has 741,000 Instagram followers. Janelle has 685,000 Instagram followers. And Christine has 823,000 Instagram followers. Their pool for potential downline members is huge, massively bigger than most, setting them up in a unique position to be successful in MLMs that are already well established. I mentioned this earlier and I'll mention it again because it's talked about in the Lula Rich documentary, which is on Amazon Prime. The vast majority of people that are successful, that top 1%, those people that are being gifted cars, going on these big, massive retreats, they got in early. They got in at the very beginning. They were the first like dozen reps. They aren't the people that are being recruited after the market is heavily saturated. But the sister wives were able to overcome this obstacle because they're famous and they have, even if they get 1% or less than 1% of their followers to join their downline, they're still gonna make quite a bit of money. All in all, the point of this video is that MLMs are problematic. I mean, I'm sure that you have seen your fair share of anti-MLM. There's like anti-MLM YouTube channels. There is a ton of content now that is coming out. There's been lawsuits via like LuLaRoe. There is just so much information now that it really does help people that are potentially, you know, getting a message from someone that they went to high school with, like, hey girl, just popping by your page. The AARP, which I'm going to link all of my sources like I always do in the description of this video, but the AARP in their 2018 report actually has like an MLM self-assessment, like, are you considering joining an MLM? Take this quiz. So I find that to be possibly helpful. I don't know. Even though all MLMs are problematic, some of them are actually potentially dangerous. You know, Meri is selling LuLaRoe. She's selling probably what people would consider overpriced for the quality clothes, you know, the whole smelly legging scandal. But I mean, that's whatever. That's clothes, right? Like, big whoop. Christine and Janelle are selling like health supplements and like weight loss products. And that can be extremely dangerous if people are not consulting like actual doctors. These supplements are not FDA approved. And actually in 2014, Plexus, which is the company that Christine and Janelle are peddling, they received a warning from the FDA for their product. So if you are ever considering taking like a vitamin or a health supplement or a protein powder, I mean, you really should run that by your general practitioner to see if that might interrupt, because everybody's different. So if you're going to put something in your body or on your body, you know, those essential oils and stuff, consult a health professional. Anyways, you guys, let me know what you think of this topic down in the comments. As always, make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel, follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Reality Squad, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care. Have a good one. Much love.